too.
Everybody loves shooting the shell. Let's start shooting the shell. You're gonna love it now. Let's start shooting the shell. Just might make you say wow. Let's enjoy some fun conversation. We'll be shooting the shell around the nation. Let's start shooting the shell.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Shooting the Shelf. I almost forgot we were about to go live at the end of that song because I noticed some cool little new features over on the YouTube thing. So, and I got a new modem router. So hopefully I'm not too choppy by having my YouTube up on the other screen. So
No, you look great.
Oh, thanks.
Well, I meant the picture, but yeah, that as well.
Oh, well, all right. Lift me up and tear me down in one swift motion. Curtis, how are you doing tonight, bud?
I am doing most excellent. So I'm excited. That music hits and I'm ready to go. Everybody else out there, hope you're jamming to the music as well. The musical stylings of one Jeremy DeWitt. I know most people are pretty into it. Not the Hoffmans. Apparently Heinrich and his wife, not a fan of the Jeremy DeWitt music, but for everybody else out there, you're welcome for the song. So there you go.
Yes. We are here. It is episode 45 of season 4, which is technically the first half of what should be. I don't know. The numbers don't make sense. But anyway, we're here. We're doing stuff. We've got a really cool guest coming on tonight.
Are we close to 200? We're past the 150 point, right?
Yeah, we should hit 200 sometime towards late next year.
Okay.
I think that's
Cool.
how math works.
We'll have a big 200 celebration.
Yeah. Speaking of 200, I got a couple giveaways to give out tonight. So
nice.
We'll get to that here shortly or at some point. But before we do that, Curtis, why don't you tell us who's in the chat tonight?
Let's do first we have Crom 316, which is Mark. Hello, everyone. Hello, Mark. We've got Schmurberger here. He popped into the customizing studio today. Was doing a little work there. So
nice.
We got the Mythic Woodsman. So welcome. Articulated Times, our good buddy Steve Mank. Check out Articulated Empire for all your figure needs. I've heard some people recently with some of the new kind of AWOC news and stuff, thinking maybe about digging into some AWOC. He can help you out there or with Legions or anything else you got. Also goes to a lot of shows, especially in the Midwest. So check him out. We got Who Left Some Warlock here. Says happy Sunday. It's Brad Knight. It is. Got Dub3 in the house of Lacerda Photos. Welcome, Dub. Recon Rage, buddy Blake. Good Sunday evening to you all. Yes. I Am is here. Welcome, I Am. Let's see. We've got Evil Stick in the house, as well as Paul Morales. Stacy Lin is here. Hi, Stacy. It was a nice painting with you on Mod Squad Saturday, as well as with Tanya. Tanya McCoy is here. Welcome. I believe we're supposed to be painting this Monday. No link out there yet, but we will get one out as soon as possible. Or sorry, not Wednesday. Jeremy is not going live this week, so we will be taking his Wednesday spot and doing some painting. Jesse, are you still with us? Are you joining us for Wednesday?
I should be.
Sweet. Freaks Figures.
All right. Yeah.
We got Omar Munez here. Welcome, sir. MJ Staten as well. We got Jen, aka Lucky Sprinkles, is here. Then we've got Gualacusiana Eshashik Viki. One more time, Ricky. Google Sickle GUI Echo Zaria. Nailed it. Jeremy Govier is here, who we did uncover earlier today is Fart by Akerman. So if anybody over the last couple of days has seen in the chat a fart by Akerman, it was Jeremy. So we deduced it. Darla Akerman is here. I know her. She's right over there. She's waving. We got Jesse Marshall here as well. Hey, Jesse, you're in the chat.
Boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants.
We got Brian Lynn of Carver Customs here as well. Now that we got past Legions Con, I don't know, but if anybody knows it, but there's a big Legions gathering happening later this year or next year at a little Carver Con in Ohio. So check that out in July. We got the artist formerly known as Twizzler19 in the house. We also have James Studio Susamudio. I
thought we said there's nothing scripted.
There's not.
Oh, wait, that was off there.
Herb V Z3D. Welcome, Herb V Z3D. Sammy Boy is here as well. Looks like Jesse threw out some memberships, so you can see all the goodness of the channel. We got Jay here, Low Fidelity Customs. And then let's see. Nate Strong is here. Welcome, sir. Nate's had some pretty cool photography there lately. Speaking of cool photography, we got Kevin Maboots here. Then we've got Saulback says, got injured and can't work, but I can watch you guys tonight. Well, sorry about the injured, but glad that you can hang out with us. So, El Spooky Zorro, little Rob Zamora in the house. Love that dude.
Rob, thanks for being here, even though I trashed your favorite Batman movies. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's very particular
still like
about
you.
his Batman. So I like him too.
Okay.
I don't agree with him on his Batman takes, but I love Rob. So, this I believe this is Arthas. But this is why he goes by Arthas, because if I was to read this, I would read it as my initial, and I'm not trying to offend Arthas. My initial was slut alert is what I saw in here. And that is definitely not it. It's something different than that, but pretty sure that's Arthas, who was in the customizing studio today and is awesome. One more time, Ricky. Exactly.
I said Slurtutant.
We'll see. He'll tell us if you nailed it or not. Kevin
sure
McCoy is here. Oh, yeah, and he came in afterwards, said this is Arthas. Yeah. I knew just from the name because I recognized it, but I can't pronounce it because I'm dumb. Cincy John is here. We got Dangerous Dusty Lee. Joe Vassapolo says, oh, hey, Brad is easily. That's how words work. One of my favorite coworkers. One of, in parentheses. Great dude. He's got to say that, though, because he's related to the boss. So we'll see. He may be telling the truth. I don't know. Okay, now we've got an at Burris Burger story. So we don't have a fart by Akerman, but now we've got a Burris Burger story. I wonder who this is. Yeah, and then he pops back in as Jeremy. Oh, I wonder. Yeah, I see you. Steph is here. Welcome, Steph. We got Elijah here from across the pond. Trevor is here. Oh, and
Brown
then
cow.
We got a super chat. You want to hit us with that super chat?
Kevin Maboot 77 with a $4.99 super chat. Good evening.
I did just get a private chat from Brad, who's backstage, that said he paid Joe $20 to say that he was one of his favorite coworkers. So, there you go. Oh, wait, that was private. I probably wasn't supposed to say that. Patrick is here. Welcome, Patrick. And I think that's everybody. So,
all righty.
Sorry, that was me tapping my table.
Just fall down this.
It throws Jesse off. I forgot, folks. Don't watch our brackets when I gotta control myself because I tend to count and tap the table, and Jesse he does not like that table sound. So I'm sorry.
Well, it's okay because I won't be on bracket episodes anymore. So,
well, you were Friday. You abstained though.
That wasn't really. I mean, all right, whatever. I didn't know it was a bracket episode. So I didn't pay attention.
Well, we voted Van as the best person to show up next Friday on OffWorld. So I voted more for Ricky, but yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, hey, before we get to the half-hour mark on the show, why don't we bring our guest out?
Okay, let's do that. You want to go ahead and do the introductions?
All right. Oh, wait. What is this? There's weird different settings over here. Everybody, give a warm digital welcome to the one and only BDT, Brad Treadaway, the eyes and ears, and this guy joining us on the shelf tonight. There he is.
Hey.
Howdy.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Nice
Absolutely.
to be here. And it was perfect timing because I just got out of hair and makeup. So, I just had to get all my, my baby powder on so I'm not too shiny up here and, got all my hair done and stuff. So thank you very much for having me here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good to see two of my dear friends sort of face to face via screen. And yeah.
Kind of extends Legion's Con a little bit by seeing each other, throughout the year.
No doubt. And I mean, I shared with you guys too that I've been watching you guys on screen this whole last year or so. So it's kind of interesting to reconnect, all the editing and kind of going through those interviews and stuff. So it's cool to see you guys in a live and exchange kind of capacity other than just me listening to you guys talk.
Yeah. I had fun hanging out with you at Legion's Con and just kind of chatting in the lobby and stuff. And we were talking about who to bring on, post Legion's Con. I was like, let's get Brad on. That should be fun. So plus we can get all the dirty Eric secrets from when he was a kid, like what things didn't he like to eat, and what toys he broke and if he took anything of yours and all that kind of good stuff.
Oh, right off screen is the scroll of that list. It's long. We'll unravel it all before the night's over, I'm sure.
Oh, very cool. All right. We did have a couple more people pop in. Alex popped in. So welcome, Alex. And Junkie and Crafts and Builds. So also, Jesse, Mark says that you don't look like an 8-bit video game. So good job.
When did I look like an 8-bit video game?
I don't know. I think he's trying to throw that out there because we make fun of his screen on Friday when he's at work. So yeah.
I mean, ups and downs of having a little pixelation in your view, right?
Yeah.
It's like retro and throwback.
Regular light on instead of a colored light as my main source of light. So maybe that's help. I don't know.
It's possible. Well, let's get right into shelf selections. So for those joining us for the first time, this is where Jesse and I, and this week Brad, have found some things that inspired us that we found on Instagram, and we're pulling them up to show you folks. So let's get right into it. First one is one of my picks, and this is Fosco Grub on Instagram. Saw this on the Cabal first, and then saw it on Instagram, using this, one of the armory builder things, and just throwing a hat on there and some Hagnons behind it, and all of a sudden it's just way, way cooler. So yeah, I really love this little, what they put together here. I guess they got a little vest or something on there as well, and then put the tail around the neck. So yeah, really cool use of this. I love the lighting. I just think this is a really cool shot. So Jesse,
this guy this character has so much like personality, just like oozing off of him. You know, I'm not going to try to do it, but I can almost hear the voice, you know. And just with the bone weapon or accessory and stuff, yeah, and the tail being around his neck like it's a piece of a you know, some sort of like spell component or something. This is a really fun shot, and I love the color like into the green in the background. It really makes the character stand out.
Absolutely. Brad, thoughts on this one?
I mean, I love it. I mean, what a great little bit of light back there on the Hacknons as well. But I'm not sure if we're going into a massive party or a massive battle with this getup here. Like, I feel like maybe it's both at the same time. I mean, that top hat though kind of signals a little bit more like this is a festivity rather than you know, an end of life incursion here.
I mean, it could be an Oingo Boingo situation. Maybe it's a dead man's party. So
There we go. I like that
we don't know.
reference.
I don't know. Next one is one of Brad's. So Brad, tell us a little bit about this one.
Well, you know, I chose a couple because I wanted to call out some people who helped welcome me into the community, and you know, 2 years ago at IshCon, that was my first toy convention, and we were just talking about like bringing out cameras and starting to talk about the community, and Jim Preziosi walked me over and introduced me to the one and only Dirk. And so I wanted to just tip my hat to him and say kind of thank you for helping opening that door to me. And also, I mean, to be able to turn a little Galactus tribute out in the mix, that's pretty good in my book. I did happen to pick up a Galactus here or in Fantastic Four last night, so it was kind of fresh on my mind in that regard too. So props to you, Dirk. Thank you.
Joe is very happy with you selecting a dwarf as your first pick. So you've pleased him.
That was the $20 coming back to me from
there you
him.
go.
So it's
just
an even exchange.
Exchanging hands and never actually gets spent.
Wait, are we participating in money laundering? What's going on here?
might be. Jesse, thoughts on this one?
The first thing that jumps out is obviously the galactic vibes, but the colors, that metallic blue and that vibrant purple just really stand out. I love when people do really colorful Legions customs, whether it's a tribute or just a character, because you know, I think a lot of people think, you know, all the knights and everything have to be like dark and, you know, like super whatever. I love the bright colors. I think that's bring it on. This is great. And Dirk is one of the best people out in the community. So no doubt he was there to help bring you in, Brad.
Yeah, great dude. All right, next one is one of Jesse's.
So I had to double look at, I wasn't sure what I was looking at this. I still don't know what this figure is. But it's given off like Koba from Planet of the Apes, but it looks like it's got actual fur or hair on it. And he's got the gun and everything. I just thought this was really cool. Oh, and this is ska_customs. I think there's a couple other pictures, or at least one other shot. But yeah, I just thought this was really cool. A really fun shot. Just the brightness, like the intensity of the fire off camera, like just lighting up, and then the intense shadows on the left. I just thought it was really cool.
Brad, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'd mimic some of that stuff. The lighting in this is really spectacular. And I think here, like even too, like the soft focus really adds a bit of like mystery and allure to the piece that, you know, if you're teaching day one of photo one, you might say, hey, that's not right. But but this to me actually elevates sort of the mystery and the immersion of the piece here. So yeah, super cool and curious to know exactly what that figure is, because I don't recognize it either.
Yeah, Trevor says it's a 1/6 figure. I think it's a really cool picture. I love the, you know, like initially when I looked at this, I was like, the way he's holding that gun is weird. And then I'm like, well, it's a monkey holding a gun. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what that really would look like. So maybe it's not weird. So But yeah, I like the plant life around it as well as the lighting. Yeah, go ahead, Jesse.
I have to do this. I'm sorry. I can't let this one slide. It's not a monkey. It's an ape.
I like that the glasses came out to assume that that role there.
Yeah, he's supposed to put this up.
Yeah, that's your thing. I don't pull that one up. That's you.
All right,
and I did look it up and said it's a Hellcat 1/6 Hellcat figure. I think they're the same company that did that Gandalf a couple of years ago, and it is Koba from the second Planet of the Apes movie.
Okay. And this was Scott_Customs. Next one is one of my picks. This is Maverick's Phantasmagora. And man, like he does such amazing pop and swaps using Figura and Cosmic and Mythic and like just stuff that every time I see one of his things, I'm like, I would have never thought of that combination. And this is one of those, like using some of those skate back parts and then, you know, kind of like a human body and then having that skeletal demon head, like, but it works. Like it's not like he's just throwing parts together and it's like, man, this is just a mishmash of weird stuff. No, he puts stuff like this together and you're like, wow, this is freaking cool. So yeah, I absolutely love this. It's just another one that he's killed. If you're not following his Instagram, this is a one that you definitely should be following because his pop and swaps are absolutely amazing. So, Jesse, we'll go to you.
I've been waiting to see people do pop and swaps with the skate back just because I know I'm not going to be as weird and have as much fun with it as other people would. So getting to see stuff like this is like really cool. This is really like off-putting and fun. Like I can't wait to see something like this come out in the line itself. Because they did say, you know, the skate back had compatible parts.
Clearly,
so
as we can see
cool. Here. It's cool to see how weird a body shape that makes, especially the feet look like hands. Like
yeah, it's like feet hands.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
I bet those feet could hold a gun pretty well, though, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That looks like an opposable thumb toe over there on the inside.
For sure.
I didn't have thumb toe on my bingo card for tonight. But, yeah, Brad, thoughts on this one?
I mean, how cool is it to see Skateback come into, you know, an upright bipedal human-esque kind of like form and posture. I mean, I continually am just blown away by the creativity, even just from the pop and swap level, and of course beyond. But this one definitely expands the boundary of that for me. I don't think I could have envisioned myself leveraging skate back parts in pop and swap like this. That's like a redefining of it for me. Yeah, super, super cool.
Joe says
fun thing
or subject at the moment.
Uh-oh.
Is that means 1.0 parts are compatible with Skateback. So Nate Armstrong, what are you cooking up? Let's see those.
I'm sure he's working on something. All right, next one is one of Brad's. Brad, tell us a little bit about this one.
So I mean, I cite this one for quite a few reasons. You know, first off, 1/6 shooter, best in the business. Such a cool set of creativity to, you know, to follow behind and look up to. So absolute props to Trevor in every level. Also, this happens to be one of my favorite figures ever out of any Horseman line. I'm a huge fan of Ganesha. I've been to India a couple of times, and I happen to have Ganesh sort of in every room of my house, and actually quite a few rooms in Eric's house has Ganesh as well that come from India with me also. So those are some nice throwbacks, and I mean, what a super cool figure, full of meaning, really expansive, like culturally and in terms of lore. And I mean, it goes without saying that the lens that photographs this is pretty on point. So yeah, not too bad. Yeah, that ticks pretty much every box for me of goodness, this picture.
Awesome.
So real quick, Brad, before we move on, I just want to, Curtis, are you gonna make fun of Brad for saying that he went to India?
No, not at all.
You can.
Not at all. Jesse, thoughts on this shot?
I mean, Trevor's amazing. His photography is a huge part, I think, of what people, unless they're at a show and see Legions for the first time, that draw people in, with the reveals and these kind of like glamour shots, or the full however you want to call it. I don't know the technical term.
Glamour shots.
Well, that's that. Like when you're showing it not just like in the package or like the loadout pictures, like when it's posed and staged and it's got like a background and maybe glass bottles that don't come with it, those kind of shots. Like when you see a shot like this, no, I'm serious. Like when you see a shot like this and it's like from the you should know not everything in this picture is going to come with the figure, even if it looks like a figure accessory. That's when you look at the loadout page. So yeah. And it's such a great shot. I can almost feel the heat and smell in this picture, even though I've never been to India.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Trevor does amazing work. I like when I will see his photography and stuff like after I've purchased the all-in, because I don't see what I'm buying beforehand, and then I'll go back and then Darla will read me the story, because I don't read, that Jeremy wrote up, and then trying to pick out all the little kind of nuggets from the story that he then incorporated into the photo, and seeing what things are in there, and then just the amount of posability and stuff that he gets from these things, when typically he gets them and they're held together with duct tape and bubble gum and all that. Does an amazing job, so for sure. Next is one of Jesse's.
This is from one of our friends. I don't know if he was in the chat tonight or not. Cincy John, with a great shot of the Chirel from the Crossroads set. Just really love the almost monochromatic, black and white tone of this shot, even though it's not black and white. I just thought this was really cool, and the little wispy smoke effects and everything just really pushed like the creepiness of this character.
Yeah, I think out of all the different looks from the Crossroads figures, this is my favorite. I think this set is awesome, but this is the look that I really fell in love with out of all of them. So, and just a great shot, like you said, the lighting, the smoke effects. She just looks creepy, but also cool. So, yeah, great job, Cincy. Brad?
First, I thought this was maybe a live, observed photo made at Legion's Con of one of the cosplayers. I don't recall their names. No, but I mean, beautiful, beautiful shot. Such a cool set and figure, and it's another one of these examples. I mean, I've been behind a camera for quite literally 30 years now. More than 2/3 of my life, and I find myself every day kind of getting deeper and deeper into this community and learning lessons and learning how to see new things and new ways of making pictures all the time. So it's been so fun for me, after so long in the mix, to almost feel like a novice and to feel like I'm discovering these really new and just awesome ways of doing something that I've been doing, for a long time. So yeah, props to this photo for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Next one is one of my picks. And this is MK Ultra Customs, which is Andy Spinks. And he had posted this in the Cabal earlier this week. I'm sorry, Andy Cox. Is that right? No, it is Andy Spinks. I was right the first time. And I asked him if he had it on Instagram. He hadn't yet, but he did post it so I could get it on here for tonight. He wanted me to make sure that I mentioned that Chance Sadler had the idea for this, but he did the paint work and put it together. I love everything about this. I love the paint job on the head. I love the repaint on the body, and then the shield. Like I don't know, it looks completely different. It looks like it's something that we haven't even seen in the Legions line, but it's just a repaint of that ogre shield that we've gotten. Yeah, this just looks super cool. I think he did an amazing job here. So, Jesse.
Yeah, when I loaded this into the show, I think I somehow missed it during the week, but the shield was the first thing that caught my attention. Was just how different it looks in that color scheme. Yeah, I totally agree with it. It looks like something we've never seen before in the line, but it's a very good repaint, and that goes to Eric's sculpting. We'll brown nose a little bit on that, but yeah, like his sculpting. When it's painted differently, with all the detail and attention, whether it's a custom or a repaint in the line, it can totally transform something where it feels like a different character or a different piece. And I love the shoulder, like the pauldron he's got there, and like the netting across the chest. Like this is a really cool fleshed out character that's going to go great with the new wave.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Just it's perfect timing with what was just revealed. So, Brad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought Jeremy had maybe forgotten to put one of the new figures in the Dawns of Discovery at G-Con, because this would fit into the fold so naturally. Very cool reimagining of the parts. That is Barodak shield, isn't it? Is it
Barodak or the Nate Barch set? Yeah.
Yeah,
We've had it a couple times
that
now.
repaint though it really is transformative. Yeah, but I saw this and I was like, wait a minute, there's a secret drop for Dawns of Discovery, and here it is.
It would definitely fit in well. So
some menacing teeth.
Next one, Brad picks.
Yeah, so I throw this out for a couple of reasons. Cosmic has landed again, and I think for one, I just want to see Cosmic land in everybody's hands as well. I don't think it's quite gotten the loud voice or reach that Mythic has yet, which is understandable. It's newer and there's less out there, but I think people are really starting to wake up to Cosmic all around, and these were really some of the first Cosmics that I've had in hand in this past bit, and so seeing the Spear couple arrive in hand was super cool. I love the kind of DIY MacGyver use of some household materials to really create a little environment in the background. I'm not sure if that's maybe a fan, a laundry basket, like
Hamster
a
wheel.
colander, strainer, hamster wheel. But anytime you can, employ something that's around and transform it as like a piece of scene, super cool. And also, I've got to tip the hat to Mr. Schmerber, because much like Dirk at that same show, really, Dirk and Greg were the very first two people that I met outside of the studio, and what a cool, welcoming, generous, and awesome set of introductions. Mr. Schmerber and I have become good friends over this last year and a half or so, and so I tip my shiny bald hat to my dear friend there as well. Oh yeah, salad spinner. There we go. See,
Well,
now it's like articulated and moving.
Well, he said it was a house fan. So
Oh, okay, yeah.
there
We go.
And he's also saying this is the first time one of his pictures is on here. I'm not saying he's wrong. I just don't know how I've we've missed his stuff. I'm gonna make sure I check my algorithm and make sure I see more of your stuff, Greg. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't miss any of your things, Greg. I was intentionally not putting you on here. So I just got
on that note
from the other side of the room. Darla was
I heard it. This is a really cool shot. The color match, like the fan to her suit, is so close. Like it's like when you see like a sci-fi movie or futuristic movie and and they're just in like an industrial warehouse with a giant fan, but it feels like it could be part of some crazy sci-fi thing.
Mhm.
I like that's there, and I really like the reflection on the dome. I think it's concentrated in that one spot in just the right way that it feels like like maybe the ship of or the door of a ship is opening, or that, and she's getting ready for whatever's about to walk through. This is a really cool shot. Well done, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to shoot these with the dome and light it up and not have like a ridiculous reflection. But this one, the reflection I feel like works in where it's at and stuff. It like feels like it's part of the actual story. And I don't know if he just like opened this figure up and was like, wow, that's amazing. This color is the same color as my fan. Or like, I don't know how this came together, because it does look like it fits right in. Like it's a great color scheme. So yeah, I mean, nice use of whatever you have to do a photo here. So
if anybody is buying a house fan that comes that color, let me know where to get it, because I don't know if that's like mauve or fuchsia, or I'm thinking of like different color words that like my grandma would have described it with, like, because like it is, and I say that complimentary, but it is a very particular shade of that kind of reddish pink, and yeah, it just feels something that could sit in grandma's house pretty naturally.
this feels like the kind of fan that somebody buys if they want a virtue signal to PGG and just like show them that they're part of the group, and they just like take this picture and send it to them. Look at the fan I just got, and then they return it to the store. So
to me, it looks like how every year when they do the back to school stuff, like in like the first week of June, even though school just got out, I feel like this is from like that back to school, like college dorm section where they have like 3 or 4 different colors, and every year it's like a slightly different variation on the different 4 colors.
Yep.
Yeah, this is great. I'm gonna go with fuchsia because nope, that's another embarrassing story about myself. Never mind. Fuchsia.
We gotta hear that one later.
No, we don't.
All right, here's one of Jesse's.
All right, from our buddy Dub3 out in the chat. Let's start a photo.
I see you have found the ghost of Rhaegor's dagger. What shall you do with such great power, AI boy? What will you do?
He's on the 3. Flipping birds at nerds from the 3.
Sorry, Jesse, I had to.
I was like, is he gonna let this whole thing play?
No, there's like 3 minutes of him just beating up gorillas or apes or monkeys. I don't know who they are. I don't know what he's beating up, but he's beating up something.
Gorillas
are
have
guns.
That's correct.
Okay.
But no, I just, the colors in this, he's got, the skulls placed in the hallway. I have no idea what's going on in the top. This feels like a H.P. Lovecraft horror story coming to, like a medieval castle. And I think it's really cool. I love the different color temperatures, and it's a really fun shot.
Yeah, for anybody that is paying attention to Legion's Quest, we are back, and we do have a new episode that's out there that we did last week. And for anybody that was listening to that, we just opened up the gates to hell, and we're walking through it. We do not know what's going to be on the other side. or what it's going to look like. And I could see something like this, like a path that we're going down with some, kind of weird celestial, stuff above us, a bunch of skulls and scariness. Yeah, I think this is it's really cool the way that he put this together. So, Brad?
I'm not going down that path there. I'm turning around and going back out the other way. Uh, I mean, beautiful. Cool to see like just saturation on blast. Like that mix of color and temperature is really cool. Really nice bit of space and depth in there. And I mean, you feel like you are really in the fold. Um, Kind of the same way you might smell that Trevor photo. Like I feel like that you would feel like the humidity and the cool in this this picture here. Yeah, it's really stunning. I mean, and every time I see a photo like this, like I'm making mental notes to myself of like how I might see or approach something somewhere down the line. So yeah, beautiful work here.
Trevor says he smells it. All
I
right.
can.
Next one is one of my picks. This is from Nate Barch Art on Instagram. And much to my delight, Nate has been doing Norsember, which is a creation of his where you do a Norse mythology drawing each day of the month of November. And he is not disappointed. It's something that when I was doing my Had They Do That with Nate, I took a real deep dive into some of his older stuff and found this Norsember that he was doing many, many years ago. And he just, threw stuff with the Horsemen and just getting busy. He hadn't gotten back to it over the last few years. And I was really pushing him to kind of do it this year. And I'm glad that he did because he has chucked out some amazing drawings throughout this year. So definitely go and check out his Instagram and see all this cool stuff that he's created. I love his work. And not only that, but like, he's just a super great dude. Like I could sit there and talk to Nate for hours. So, Brad, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'll second all of that as well. I mean, what a blessing for Horsemen and everybody in the community to have an agent like this on our team. I mean, what a stellar artist. Every time a new piece or a new part of the packaging comes out, I mean, everybody in the studio is anxious to get a peek at it. And I'll share too that really this Legions Con was my first extended time to really sit down with Nate and have some extended one-on-one conversations. And I mean, this is the kind of person you want in your circle. What a just like calm and centered and cool person to call a friend and like a coworker. Yeah, so props to Nate as well. Yeah.
Jesse, thoughts on this little critter and the guy with him?
Yeah. Nate, put a book out, but put out your Norsember book. I'll buy it. This picture is great. I mean, there was a couple days in a row he was doing like female characters, and I commented, I was like, stop making characters I'm falling in love with every day. Like, but yeah, the critters, this little, I don't know if that's a big mouse and like an imp scale character or a really tiny guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I love like kind of the distended fingers and toes and stuff. It's been really cool seeing his stuff, and I agree with everything both of you said. That the times I've gotten to talk to him have always been really cool, and so it's been very a very calming presence.
Oh yeah, and just so humble too, right? Like, yeah. And I tell you what, you look at this stuff from Norsember, and there's at least a dozen things that I've looked at, and I'm like, I really hope they pull this into the Legions line. Like, it's good stuff. It's so if out of everybody out there that is looking at the Norsember stuff, I hope Eric is looking at Norsember stuff because there is some absolute gold in there. So
I will relay that. And Curtis, didn't I hear you say that you really have a special affinity for like the more doodles and sketches of Nate?
Yeah, I love these kind of things. you know, obviously the finished art is awesome, but just seeing that kind of progress stuff is really cool. So
I'm the same way with our, I love the sketchy stuff. It just there's some extra level of like liveliness to it that it doesn't get lost in the finished product, but it's different.
Yeah, I was lucky enough that at Legion's Con during intern we were talking about quite a few different things. Obviously, he's got an hour now, and one of them we were talking about kind of some figure obscure options, and I had mentioned to him one of the ones that I want to see is this like wintry gnome that's like up in the mountains. It's called like a Barbagazi. It's like a it's not Norse, but it is Upper Europe kind of folklore. And the next day he had a sketch of it. Like within one day he had done a really awesome, amazing sketch, and he traded it to me for a set of my brushes, which is going to go down as one of the worst trades in history. Like he got the real rough end of the trade on that one, because it was just an amazing piece, and he just whipped it out in one night based on a small conversation that we had. So yeah, great dude. Next one is one of Brad's.
So I threw, you know, I kind of stayed close to the vest here in our world and community. And then I jumped outside of the box a little bit to something that gives me great pleasure. Bill Withers, one of my favorite musicians of all eternity. You know, and this album recorded in 1975 at Carnegie Hall is one of the finest live recordings on the history of the planet. Um, one of the most exquisite storytellers, songwriters, musicians, and just a kind and generous soul. Bill Withers' first album cover was taken on his lunch break at a factory, and he's actually standing in front of the factory like with his lunch pail, and that kind of like just low to the ground working man roots, like you know, if you've never heard some of these songs like Friend of Mine and, you know, maybe Ain't No Sunshine one, you know, Lean on Me, probably the one that's most popular. But, you know, if anybody loves their grandma, listening to that song Grandma's Hands is it's it'll put a tear in your eye and make you feel like he knows your grandma too. So yeah, if you need a little bit of a brightness and an uplift, I strongly suggest lending your ears to Bill Withers live at Carnegie Hall.
Awesome. Yeah, I've not heard this one, so I definitely added it to my list to check out. So appreciate that. Jesse.
I think this is just a really cool photo of a record. No, I'm familiar with the name. I don't know. I'm sure I've heard some of these songs just through the years. Maybe didn't realize what it was or who it was. But yeah, I'll definitely check a couple of these out. Yeah, but that's cool. I love listening to music people like is a really fun way to get to know some things about them. So I'll definitely be checking this out this week.
Yeah,
Cool.
this one, it's a special piece. I mean, you know, it's definitely got some folk, it's definitely got some like R&B, it's definitely got a lot of like, you know, southeastern kind of church and gospel sound in it. Yeah, there's some beautiful tunes in there.
Very cool. Next is one of Jesse's. Wow.
This is a name I can't read. It hasn't. There we go.
Calhan.
Calhan.
Kalhaahan.
Yes. With the Frankenstein's creature from Figura Obscura. I've not finished the new Frankenstein yet. I started it. But I know I've been seeing a lot of people doing more photographs with him because of that movie, or reposting stuff. And this one, just the light, the shadows, I just thought was really cool. The way it's posed, very dynamic, and it's just a really cool, creepy, unsettling image.
Wow. I wasn't following this account, but I am now. And man, this is awesome. And then they've got a kind of a behind the scenes on the setup of it. Um, really awesome work. Like I love this. I think my favorite part is actually the posing of the figure, to where he just feels kind of like that shambling creature. You know, it doesn't feel like natural movement. Um, and then just the little rats and stuff like the yeah, really cool. I love this a lot. Brad.
Yeah, I mean, I would remark too on the gesture, the posture, the posing. It feels really like naturally unnatural and
Mm-hmm.
contorted and uncomfortable. And I think, as I've started to turn my camera to things that are smaller and posable after this last year and a half, I mean, one of the biggest uh, portions of my learning has been about like how to pose a figure. And it's an art form unto itself that I was completely ignorant to. And so seeing something that is like as precise but also feels really organic and natural here is like that to me really stands out. But of course too, I mean, the perspective, the lighting, the immersive qualities here, like knockout work. Yeah, this is super super cool.
Very cool. Next is one of mine. And this is our friend Maverick Salvagen, which is errant_creations. And, people, I wasn't even back from Legion's Con yet. I know there was people on their way home still, and he was already posting repainted koi pictures. Like he was on it immediately. And not only that, but just doing a fantastic job. Like it's one of those figures. When I saw the koi and package at Legion's Con, I thought it was a custom initially. Somebody had showed it to me. I'm like, wow, that's an amazing custom. They're like, no, this is the table drop. I was like, holy crap. It hadn't even like registered yet, like what kind of creations we're going to see with this. And immediately it unlocked something in Maverick's brain to where he went home and he's like, I want to see it painted like this. And I want to see it painted like that. And started putting out these, amazing koi customs. And man, he's just absolutely killing it. So I love all the detail. Like even on these real close-up pictures, like he shows up close and it's like, there is nothing that looks messed up or out of place or whatever. It looks absolutely perfect. So great job, Maverick. Jesse.
I 100% agree. Great paint work. The lines are nice and crisp. I like how he didn't do the exact same patterns and designs on the two fish. Like some of the details on the red one are a little different than the blue one. And they feel like two different characters. And I think he posted like red fish, blue fish. So I don't know if he's going to do a whole Dr. Seuss thing. But this is I really dig these. I'm excited to see what else he comes up with.
Absolutely. Brad?
Yeah, let's get out every package of Skittles and make a koi custom, based on every Skittle color and flavor that's out there. Let's complete the rainbow. Yeah, I mean,
There,
respect too to the paint work here. I mean, again, that's another thing that I've been I feel really privileged to be around such talented painters, and certainly a couple on screen here with me also. Just seeing the steady hand, and yeah, you don't look too far. Seeing the steady hand, the attention to detail, the kind of balance of like honoring an original, but also giving your own interpretation and flavor to it. Yeah, really nice work, and seeing a koi-led army would be a pretty cool follow-up here.
Very cool.
you might even say that would be a full-scale battle.
Touche.
All right. Next one is one of Brad's, and this is kind of a back-to-back. We got two photos, but they're not on the same slide. So yeah, tell us a little bit about what we got going on here.
Yeah, so even though that says Knoxville, Tennessee up there, this is actually in New Orleans, Louisiana. This is where in St. Patrick's Cemetery number 2, it's on the corner of Canal and City Park. New Orleans Cemetery is super famous for their architecture and just how uniquely special they are. It also happens to be the place where many Treadaway ancestors are buried. Our family is rooted in New Orleans since like the late 1700s or so. So much of my family is buried there. In this particular cemetery, we have a plot where at least 9 or 10 of my family members are in a sort of like kind of crypt or space, not really like in a casket, but there's like a space where, at least 9 or 10 of our family members are interred there. And it's a place that I go to every time I return to New Orleans, which is as frequently as possible. It's a place where I find a lot of like grounding and pride. It's not so much of a sad thing, but when I went to this place for the first time, I felt my feet were kind of sinking into the soil. My roots were kind of growing underneath me, and so I find a lot of like strength and solace here. Jesse, I know you've been in a period of transition. This is something that we shared a little bit of dialogue with, and I put this up here as part a little homage and a memorial to your loss and also to what remembrance looks like. So yeah, rest in peace to all those who have passed on, and remember to pray and be thankful for your ancestors and give thanks. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean,
It's very cool.
obviously, you don't want to ever lose that grounding, that thoughts of what came before you and how you got to where you are. And yeah, that's really awesome that you still visit there and stuff. So Jesse, any thoughts?
Yeah, can you go back to the other one? I want to read
Yeah.
that out loud in case anybody can't see it. It's or Brad, do you want to read it?
It is a holy and wholesome thought to pray for the dead, that they may be loosed from sins. And yeah, it's
That's
something that when I saw that, it resonated with me. It's something that sits kind of in the back of my mind quite frequently, and it's a yeah. So I thought appropriate to kind of acknowledge that with you, Jesse, as well.
I appreciate that, and the conversation we got to have at Legion's Con about that, and the other people that I was able to open up to there. I'm not going to get all deep into it now, but just thank you to everyone that was able to put up with me talking about that. Not put up that. I'm not trying to condescend it, but to let me share that, because not holding it in really helped process everything. But this is really cool, and I've not been to I guess New Jersey is the closest thing to America as far as like where I would have family roots from, because that's where my dad and mom are from, and their parents immigrated to. But I can't say I feel my feet sinking into the soil in New Jersey yet. Maybe someday.
Mine does sometimes. Then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not sure I want to be stuck in this soil.
Awesome. And then Jesse will follow that up with this. What do we got here, Jesse?
So this is not, I was going to share it and I just didn't get around to posting it yet. This is from Wally22974 on Instagram, but it's not on Instagram. This is Paul, our buddy Paul, out in the chat there. He sent me a card for my father's passing, and this drawing was in it, and I was blown away. He's like, I thought I'd send to your favorite characters. I don't think I knew he was an artist like this. Like, I know he's done customs, but like this blew me away. And it was just really nice little surprise, and just an amazing piece of artwork, so I'm definitely gonna take this back to work and get it a frame put around it and put it on the wall somewhere. I got to take something down, I think, to put this up, but yeah.
Yeah, this is absolutely fantastic. I love this. I've over the last year or so, I've kind of grown to love the Thistlethorn character. I did not have it for the longest time. I didn't feel like I needed it in my collection. And then you start seeing all this toy photography with it. And, Jesse and I have talked about this. It seems like, depending on the situation that you put him in the photo, he almost has like a different expression, even though the figure hasn't changed. Like he just kind of morphs into the situation. And I've grown to have a love for this character. And the way that he's like brought the fur to life on this and stuff, man, that's just really cool. And then to have, your tribute figure on there as well. These are just really well done. So awesome job, Paul.
Yeah.
Brad?
I mean, who knew that ferocity could also be kind of cute,
Yeah.
um, yeah, so nice in that
Wait,
corner.
did you say ferocity?
He
Oh,
did.
oh,
He did.
touche.
I heard it.
I didn't even, I just jumped into my own pun there. God, here we are sinking again. Um, no, I mean, what a really nice use of pencil to paper. I was gonna say pen to paper, but pencil to paper. When I see things like this, it reminds me of why early on I picked up a camera and put down pens and brushes because my skill set was certainly lacking in those corners, and to see something rendered like this, I mean, yeah, really beautiful. I mean, here you kind of see some of that like more free and loose mark making, but to very kind of precise results. So yeah, really
Yeah.
nice. Love the perspective on Thistlethorn as well.
Yeah. Very cool. And that is it for shelf selections. So thank you to all those that appeared there, and make sure you're following those folks on Instagram because they're doing some great work, and it'll make your Instagram that much cooler. So, all right, Brad. So, I think most people probably only know you from like the last year or so, right? Like before that, didn't really see you too much, but you've actually been kind of involved with this line pretty much since the beginning, right?
Sure. I mean, I've popped in and out of the studio even before there was a Four Horsemen, even. I mean, in earlier days than that. But I mean, going back to certainly like DC work, Gothatropolis. I mean, I was in there like molding and casting on occasion. I did do some like some base coat painting and stuff like that. I still joke that the the cleanup work on the Gothatropolis and some of that DCUC stuff was some of the best cleanup work that the industry has ever seen. Of course, I say that with as a complete joke, but yeah, I definitely had some Exacto blades, some Zappa Gap, and stuff like that in my hands back in that period. So yeah, I mean, I have been, not certainly not a critical or constant presence, but I've always been around, and of course I've also had the blessing and curse of being around, this other Treadaway guy since the inception of things. So
Mhm.
I've kind of got that under my belt as well. But yeah, I mean, it really has been. It was probably like last March or so that I started to come in a bit more frequently. And, sometime in the summer of last year, Jim was like, Brad, come here, come in the office. And I was like, oh boy, I'm fired already. So I said, go and sit down. I was
Your
like,
brother
oh, it
can't
took
even
like
do it himself. He's got to have
it
Jim
was
do
like
it.
took like 3 weeks, and I'm already wore out my welcome. But go and sit down. And Jim's like, you want a full-time job? And I was like, yes, yes. Like didn't really think about it. And so from that point forward, it's like I have just taken a dive off the deep end. And you know certainly after Legion's Con 2024, my
Mhm.
first, I came back and said, look, I hope you guys are okay with me because I'm not going anywhere. Like you're stuck. Yeah, I mean, that was my kind of vision quest trial by fire. And, after that weekend and really like with that door open to folks like you, I was like, man, there's no going back for me.
Yeah,
Um,
we definitely want to talk about some of the stuff that you've done since you've been on kind of full bore. But
mhm.
one thing that I wanted to touch on there with your kind of early beginning with this line, because we had a talk at MuskeeCon, and I don't know if you like caught this moment, but there was a moment where you were getting ready to set up in Travis's basement. We're going to record these things, and you were kind of talking to us about how you had done some of those early pictures, right? Like the early kind of shots of the figures and all this and that. And there was a look on my face that was similar to this, because for those of us that have been in the line a while and maybe have gone to intern, we have heard numerous times Trevor tell the story about how he got the job with Four Horsemen because he told them how bad their photos were early on. and, then, and then you told me you did those early photos. And once again, my face. So, now, obviously, many years have passed since then, but anything that you'd like to say to Trevor while we've got him here in the chat?
Well, for better and worse, I actually did not have such a heavy hand in that early photography. I'm certain that I made some, and I'm certain that they were pretty poor in quality. Let's go with this, that they were all
Okay,
Chris's shots. Some of
sure.
those are even pre-Chris, but I think it's safe to go ahead and toss him firmly under the bus here.
There you go. He's not
Uh,
here. So.
but I will extract myself from this pit that I'm about to drop into, and I will say, going back and looking at the arc of photography that has represented the line, there is such a clear marcation when Trevor steps into the fold.
Yeah.
And I know that in the last year or so, like, he has gone back and started to replace some of those early offerings. Some of those earliest pictures are still up on the website though, and man, they are screaming to be replaced. And so,
Yeah.
it really does speak to how critical a role the imaging of these figures are. And yeah, I mean, I'm lucky that I've got some good examples in front of me to work on. But yeah, it's, you've got to take some time. You've got to have some skill set. You need a little bit of gear, and then you need some patience and creativity to make these things, even just serviceable at best. And looking at some of those early photographs, speak to the lack of those things, and certainly, and how far everybody has come, and no doubt, Trevor's chief among that improving arc.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm not going into any of those pits. I mean, I'll
you're,
throw myself down there, but
you're good. You're good.
unless
So
I mean, Chris is the only one I'll probably comfortably toss in there.
so tell us a little bit about your background in photography and video and video editing and all this and that before you came here.
Sure. I mean, I said it kind of jokingly that I picked up a camera because pen and brush were not really my strong suits. There is some truth to that. I mean, I do get a kick out of telling the story that, when I would go into my art classes in middle school and high school, and they're, going down the roll, and they're like, Treadaway, Treadaway. They're like, I'm just like, no, 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 no. Let's
Not
let's
that
do,
one.
let's let's lower expectations from the get-go here.
So you had the bar set pretty high before you got there.
Yeah, not a clone or repeat, but I mean, it did kind of invite me to look at other ways of being creative, and the camera really lent itself to that. And I mean, I went through art school. I've got a bachelor's degree and master's degree in photography and filmmaking. I've taught photography for 21 years, at a number of schools, mostly in New York, but a little bit in Italy, a little bit in Louisiana. Um, I mean, I kind of came up as like a documentarian and as a street photographer. Growing up in the South, I was born in Alabama, grew up in Tennessee and Louisiana. I knew that my scope of experience was really limited. In a pre-internet world, I just wanted to kind of shine a light on like my own ignorance, and travel was definitely key to that. And so, that's one of the things that sort of brought me to India. And, I mean, I've been upwards of 30 countries or so, like with my camera.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Pretty much all of that was before I was like 24 or 25.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, I traveled extensively as a young person, and it really shaped, oh, it shaped everything. I mean, it shaped how I move through the world. It shaped a lot of like my patience and understanding of like people who are same and different. And I went to graduate school in Louisiana. Hurricane Katrina came. uh, it upset the balance and the roots of my family. A lot of our history and a lot of our just geography was washed into the Gulf of Mexico. A lot of our family was displaced out of New Orleans, and from that tragedy, like I decided to become an archivist for my family. And so at first, I asked everybody to send me everything, and so for months, and really, I mean, it's never stopped, but for months and years, I very functionally tried to reconstitute our family archive. Photos, films, letters, postcards, sound recordings, historical documents, census, birth, death, marriage, autopsy, all kind of stuff. And so as I just reconstituted this and spent so much time with it face to face, I realized that there was value of it beyond that. And so for a long time, I was working as like an exhibiting and kind of like conceptual artist. And I
Mm-hmm.
made work that utilized those archives as a kind of the base. And so I'd sort of like manipulate and recontextualize those things, and, make short experimental films, installations, kind of sculptural, photographic objects. And it was oftentimes leveraging uh, ephemera from my family, which is so kind of historically invaluable. I don't say that as a disrespectful thing, but like, there's no great histories to celebrate there. Very
Mm-hmm.
vernacular, lower economic, unremarkable family history. And that was something that I've really leaned into as a creator. And so I was telling stories about family,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. And when I turned over to Four Horsemen, it has been a recalibration of the tools that I use to express myself. But someone told me, they were like, "Oh, you're still making films about your family,"
Mm-hmm.
and it was like the most awesome light bulb that went off, because it was, first off, it was very like comforting and reassuring to hear that. But then
Mm-hmm.
it also was like, yeah, this, like, not only am I kind of telling the story of my brother as family, but
Mm-hmm.
also like the family that has welcomed me in with like such genuine, comprehensive, and just kick-ass open arms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've got family sitting here on the screen. I know I've seen a lot of family over in the comments over there. And yeah, and so like being able to turn the corner and tell these kind of stories has been such a nice kind of evolution and expansion of stuff that, I've been doing all my life now, really. Yeah.
When you said you were, telling your family story and, document, I was like, I was thinking that, I was like, well, that carried over into how you're telling the story of the Legions Con documentary. It feels very familial in the way it's set up. Like I had a friend last year was on, or earlier this year was on that is it Finding Your Roots show?
Mm.
If you've seen that on PBS, where
I
I
haven't
forget the gentleman's name. He's
I know what you're talking about.
where it's usually with celebrities, but they did like three or four like normal people, and one of my close friends here in town was one of them. And they explore like the history, where they came over from and all that stuff. But it's a little more sterilized in a way, because
Mhm.
it's, I mean, the people, depending on what they learn, some of the celebrities and the people get shocked and everything. But I felt, there's definitely like that family type essence in those videos, and hearing you say that about how you got into doing all that, and then I'm like, that's definitely what you're doing with the videos for the Horsemen and stuff. I mean, the toys and stuff, we all say that toys are what bring us together. It's the people that keep us coming back.
Yeah, I mean, you look at even the dragon video, right? Like the videos, the little, whether it's the longer ones or the shorter ones, like the videos that you put together definitely are telling a story. And I know, just from my talks with you and just from being there in Travis's basement while you're recording, like you've got many hours of footage to go through, and the way that you were able to take one little small part from here, one little small part from there, and then you put it together in a way that it tells this cohesive story. Like I'll be honest, I opened up the link when I saw it for the Legions Con one, and I'm like 50 something minutes. I'm like, holy cow, how is he going to get 50 minutes out of this? And then by the time it was done, I was like, where's the rest? I want more, but it was just a very good story that you kind of weaved in there. So it's kind of cool to hear that that's kind of where that came from with your family history.
And I saw Big Greg pop in there, and I mean that's cousin right there. That's family too, in all kind of ways. Yeah, from car buying to taking care of him. Like, and we've got such a brotherly bond. He'll appreciate this. I thought he was going to strike me at Legion's Con, because leading up to it, I kind of re-aggravated a back injury from my early 30s, and I was walking around like an old man, and and I was starting to heal up and stuff, and we were unloading boxes, and Greg raised his voice at me in a very serious and direct way, and I was like this. But that's what family does, looking out for one another. I did have to assure him, though, that as well as he knew me, that the level of my stubbornness that he was about to witness, he maybe did not yet know. But it is, I mean, it is family in this pocket of the world. And I mean, that has been what has been so eye-opening and fulfilling to me, is that I did kind of jump out of a world that I've been super familiar with for 20 years, and I kind of jumped into another world, and felt like I was a little bit in the doldrums, but that didn't last but more than a couple of like hours or days or whatever. Yeah. I'm laughing because I'm seeing that as well. It is all out of love. But I kind of said right from the get, like, I don't have a lot to add to the conversation about the toys that they're not already doing themselves, or that good folks like you are continuing the story. But I knew that I could lend a hand in opening the door to what is present in this community, and also maybe with that door open, help invite some people into the community that may not yet feel comfortable, like taking those steps to get in the room, so to speak. Yeah, and I mean, it's been folks like you that have really helped me tell that story so far.
I believe we got a super chat there, Jesse, if you want to hit us with that.
G throwing us $1.99 super chat. Real community! Exclamations. Family don't end in blood.
There you go.
If you try hard enough, it does.
I did want to pull up this one from Eric Miller. He says, "Hey guys, isn't Brad the coolest?" It reminded me of a conversation that Darla and I had at Legions Con, and I think it was Saturday night. It might have been Sunday night. Anyways, one of the nights we were sitting in the lobby, and I was just, we were chatting with Brad for seemed like a couple hours, and we got done, and Darla's like, "Isn't he the nicest guy?" And I'm like, yeah, I mean, in a studio full of just awesome people, like, he's immediately like kind of shot up to the top. I'm like, if you had to have a conversation, sit down and have a conversation with one person from the studio, who would it be? And I'm asking her, and we kind of boiled it down to, and everybody's great, but we kind of boiled it down to a tie between you and Nate Barch as like the nicest people at the studio. We're like, if we're gonna have a conversation with one, so we kind of agreed like she would take one of you and I would take the other one. We're just gonna have two conversations. So
Well, thank you. The $20 tip to Eric Miller is in the mail. Yours will be forthcoming. Venmo right after the chat. Thank you. It is very nice and humbling to hear that, but it's really easy to be decent in this world. I mean, what surrounds you is easy to reflect, and so for me it's just about being around like minds. And I mean, to sit down and have those kind of conversations that I wish there were more and more frequently. But yeah,
mhm.
to sit down and have those kind of conversations, it's natural. It was great to do it. It's I feel like we're already overdue for the next one, even though we're in the midst of one right now. And yeah, it's a pleasure just to kind of be getting to know folks. Because too, like the like Legion's Con 2024, I definitely made a lot of introductions, but I was still a very novice person in the community. I didn't really know folks. And this year I really felt like I was able to kind of build on and continue out some of these relationships that have started. And so, getting to know you two better this God, is it 2 weekends? Two weekends
Yeah, a
ago?
couple weekends ago.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Time flies.
It's all
Yeah.
such a blur. But yeah, I mean, like as much as it's blurry, I'm already kind of amped up and looking for, the next opportunities. I've already put a couple things on the calendar as requests to travel this coming year. So I'm hoping to connect with you guys and others outside of New Jersey, and certainly before this next November, which, believe it or not, we're already having conversations about.
Very cool. So, as far as the projects you've worked on with the Horsemen so far,
Mhm.
obviously the ones that come to mind for me are the Dragon video and then the Legions Con one. But tell us a little bit about your time working on those projects and what you enjoyed about those.
Sure. I mean, so Birth of the Dragon was a really unplanned set of events. I stepped in, I kind of wanted to figure out how to be a filmmaker in the company. I
Hmm.
didn't quite know how that was going to happen. That was really before my sense and understanding of the community was present. And I said, wait a second, there's this awesome beast coming to life in front of our eyes. I can say, because I didn't make it, that it is absolutely history in the making. Like
Hmm.
I mean, I can speak. Yeah, I will scream it from the mountaintop. This is the coolest toy ever made. Um, and it is. Yeah, it's probably the most ambitious thing. It's not the biggest, but like in terms of complexity, detail, care,
Hmm.
I mean, from the scales on the feet to the paint in the mouth, the articulation, the imagination of it. I said, let's see if we can tell a story about this moment in toy history. And the crew really gave me some liberty to shove cameras in their face and say, hold on, don't do that yet, let me focus this or else I can't use it.
Hmm.
The owners were generous enough to sit down with me and sit in front of a couple cameras with some lights blasting on their face and try to be like behaved and coherent, which of course they did very well. um, but it happened. I mean, I was doing that stuff as I was doing all the things that I'm kind of employed to do there, and
Hmm.
so I kind of describe the filmmaking as like my other job with the Four Horsemen, because that's not necessarily what I'm doing primarily in the daytime. um so it happened really organically. And I mean, I was putting it together as I was trying to finish it. And when it was done, it felt like a film that I would have made outside of this world. So like it was personally like really gratifying. Um, and it was also one of my first kind of turns into a more like purely documentary kind of film. Like I've made a lot of like short, kind of weird experimental films which don't like follow conventions and rules like uh, so you don't have to do things perfectly. You don't have to light, focus, expose. You don't have to do color. You don't have to edit and so to actually kind of sit down and have to behave as a filmmaker and as an editor, things that I've taught for 20 years, to actually have to adopt that into my own practice. It was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to kind of like fit within a more formal box of filmmaking. And of course the reception to it was heartwarming and pretty positive. And from that point it was like, all right, let's see what else can come out of this. And so you guys were some of the first to sit down in front of the camera. Outside of the studio, I've managed to get almost everybody in the studio. There's still a few folks who are not resident that are my next victims.
Okay.
And that will happen in this upcoming calendar year. But I mean, yeah, that kind of set the stage and gave us a sense that there are stories to be told here that are like tangential to the toys and really foregrounding people and foregrounding community. And um, this is Legion's Con certainly continued that. I do think that a lot of folks saw this in the rollout and debut of Infinite Legions when we introduced the collaboration with O'Neill,
Mhm.
Matt Dowdy, and Faden and the Glyos crew. But we did make a 17-minute piece that's just kind of specific to Infinite Legions. Matt is front and center in that piece. If you haven't had a chance to see that one, that's up on our YouTube as well. It is delightful in every way, shape, and form. I mean, anytime you can hold court with Matt Dowdy, like
Mhm.
just sit down, zip it, and let's go. So that's another one that maybe is a little bit quieter in the roster so far that I really would encourage people to take a sit down with if you haven't. Because I will sit that like it's one I've gone back and watched it
Mhm.
quite a few times myself just because I love to hear Matt go on. And I'll take any time I can. But there's a lot on deck. There's a lot on deck. And I mean, my only real problem with it so far is that there's just not enough time to get to it all. So I'm trying to see if I can get like a third job at Four Horsemen. I don't know what hours of the day that's going to happen, but no, I mean there is a lot to come. I mean, some of the stuff that you guys shared with me, certainly sitting um on deck and ready to go. And a lot of folks who I spoke to over Legion's week, I expressed that my only real qualm or reservation criticism of this is Legion's Con is that I just didn't have enough opportunity to put more people into the chair to help tell the story. And certainly leaders in the community like you guys were great to kind of open the door with. But there's a lot of people who have a lot to say and bring a lot of meaning to the world that we are so like just like lucky and blessed to have around us. That yeah, Mike, I feel a like a burden and a responsibility to get the camera out and to continue that process. So yeah, I mean, I've got some irons in the fire, some ideas, and yeah, I've got to get some new hard drives and some extra batteries and stuff like that because 2026 is definitely going to continue some of what we've been seeing here in end of 24 and throughout 25.
Well, I know earlier you talked about in school, kind of Eric setting that bar pretty high. Well, when you're putting stuff out on the Four Horsemen YouTube channel, the bar is really, really low. I mean the stuff that Chris and George does, you see that and you're like, okay, this is just, and then you see this very serious thing that you put together. And you're like, wow, this is amazing. Like, this is from the same people that do that other live show. But I just, on a personal level, I really appreciate the Legions Con one, because for years now I've had people from my work, people in my family that are like, why are you going to New Jersey in November and spending the majority of your vacation for the year in New Jersey in November? And I was able to just send them that link and say, this is why. And like, they would watch it and go, we get it now. Like, we understand, like, it is this community environment. It is this family feel to it. And so you were able to, all the things that we have trouble articulating and, or, just telling people about and getting them to understand, you were able to show it in one video, which I think is absolutely amazing. So thank you very much.
Well, and I think the kind of high, I call it highbrow, lowbrow, and this is something I would do in the classroom. Like, when you're talking about personal expression, people are bringing things that are really deep and serious and heavy and meaningful, and you gotta get in there and like navigate that stuff. But then you gotta let the air out. Like, so if you're up here in like the level of seriousness, you need to take it down here.
You gotta throw a buffet in every now and then.
You gotta get a buffet and let those guys turn on the cameras at 4:00.
Right.
On Wednesdays.
Yeah. Let's not get too serious. Let's throw Chris on the screen for a bit. So,
well, I don't know if you guys.
He said you helped to balance things out. So.
Yeah, well, Joe and I are oftentimes, shoulder to shoulder while Forish is going on. So, we get the counter conversations there. I should note though that interestingly, I have never once been invited to appear on Fourish Horsemen, though I am a pretty accessible potential guest. So I know some of the studio folks are out here. So if you want to rat that out and send it along.
Wait, so do you want to be on 4:00?
No, I didn't say that. I just thought it should be known that I've never been invited. I don't know if I was offered an invitation. I'm not sure I can say what the answer to that would be.
Oh man, this Ken Burns, that reminds me. A couple years ago, Steven and the what was it? The Legions Cast podcast.
Yep.
Did their I forget what it was. It was like the brother of David Attenborough. Like at Legions Con, like talking about the different type of collectors, and they were talking like he said he was pretending. I don't know if you've listened to that, but he talks how he set up like a blind in the corner of the hotel or the showroom, and he's doing this accent and everything. I was like, and with Brad, you could actually get that footage now, like between the pop and swappers, the inbox, the customizers, just the as is. And that's the thing, with, you got to talk to us and some folks at Mesquite Con and some of the other places, but there's so many different types of fans and collectors, customizers, the people that do the shows, the retailers that are also fans. And, there's just so many different voices that like the possibilities are near endless of stories you could tell just within this community.
On us.
I'm glad you're back. No, it's true, and I mean, and this has been one of the great eye openers for me, is that all these years, like, I knew how cool the toys were. I knew that it was meaningful to people. I knew that there were communities surrounding all of this, but I had no idea how meaningful it could be, and I don't think that people outside of this world have any idea like how meaningful it is. And And I mean, it's so different and diverse in so many capacities, from the type of creativity that people are bringing, the walks of life that people are coming from, and the just the communion that happens. And I mean, it's not only at Legion's Con, it happens every week, every night, in environments like this, at shows throughout the country, increasingly outside of the country, across oceans. And I mean, when people see this, like, this is the kind you want to be a part of this.
Hmm.
And the door is open here. If you want to come in and, like, you've got a decent and proper energy, which is pretty easy to achieve, like, you're gonna find friends in this world. And that's something that I think a lot of us could use a little more of.
Yeah, for sure. I know last night on PGG, I had they were at Van and Jordan were at a show, so Guaisagway and myself, we were kind of manning the fort a little bit on there, and we got to talking about community, which is actually a term that some folks on YouTube recently have made fun of. Have kind of like joked about people calling this a community, and I think I actually feel bad for those people, because the reason that it's easy to joke about that is because they have not experienced it. They don't know this, like, because I've been in other toy groups and I've seen what it's like, and it gets ugly, and that's not what it's like here. And for people that haven't experienced it, I could see where it would sound silly. I mean, I've had these conversations with people where they've said, I've heard this numerous times. This is not like hyperbole, that they've said this line saved my life, right? And it's more than just toys. It's creating these friendships and giving yourself an outlet and a hobby and a way to get rid of your anxiety and stress and all these things. Like it's changed people's lives, and that's like big. That is big stuff.
hmm And look, I mean, I can understand how someone who is completely unattached to this world might think that sounds silly and try to
Mhm.
dismiss it. Um, but it doesn't take much to, I think, change someone's perspective on that. You spend a small amount of time in any of these pockets that surround anything legions and horsemen, and it's pretty evident that, yeah, there is a community. It is pretty wholesome, um, and it's not performative. It's not performative. There's not gatekeeping. Yeah, and it's
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 not
you know, and
transactional,
mhm.
right?
Boy, what a really appropriate and powerful word to attach to it, because, yeah, I think a lot of communities are transactional. And I think that's something that, as I came into this, and I mean, I don't know, maybe my last name bears a little bit into it, but I mean, the welcome has been so robust and so sincere that, I think Len said something that, his it's his like, I forget what he just, like, his lockup list, or
Yeah,
like, who he's
Oh
calling,
yeah.
yeah.
if he gets locked up. And he was like,
Bail them out.
7
Yeah,
out of 10 are folks that he's met in the Legions community. And yeah, I mean, I at least 5 of those 10 that I'm calling now, if I have that misfortune, they're
Well,
they're coming from the Legions community at this very.
I'm just worried about what Len's planning on doing that he needs that list.
Don't let that kind facade fool you. He's plotting and scheming all over the place.
Well, we do have people already kind of looking to get their Brad fix. And Nate is asking if you're coming back to MesquiCon this year.
I can say that there is an official request in to the bosses. Um, so if I need some advocacy to get a yes there, I will reach out. I do think that one seems pretty much a positive at this point. So I will very much look forward to returning to Michigan and holding court in a really cool and fun place with a lot of cool people. So Yeah, I feel like I don't like. I feel like it's going to be a good year out there this year. Like, because I got the sense last
Mhm.
year it had really it had grown quite a bit, and I heard just at Legion's Con a lot of people talking about it. So let's see if we can break the door down there. This that's March. Yeah, it is,
Yep.
and yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
March.
usually
Yeah.
like middle of March. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, let's get the petition going. Yeah, so let's see if we can make that happen. I do think that that seems likely.
Well, and I
So
don't know
fingers
if you can
crossed.
answer this next question, but I think it's a good one. Nate asked if you're documenting the birth and progress of the role playing game as a separate piece.
The cameras are out. We have caught a few things along the way. Um, More of that is to come. Obviously we'll generate something for the Kickstarter. But I hope that you know, along with and kind of added to that, yeah, we'll be able to do some storytelling outside of just like a more functional Kickstarter. Because there's a lot of cool stuff happening there. It's a real new chapter and a real cohesive expansion of everything Legions. It's going to be a great opportunity to welcome in like an audience that's like right next to us, but maybe hasn't dipped their toes in. And so, yeah, I think we've got a lot of opportunity to talk about how cool this new game is,
Mhm.
and then to let that be kind of a leverage point to talk about some of the stories that are going to come from it. So yeah, there's some irons kind of in the fire there as well.
Just make
Very
sure if you
cool.
use any of the footage from our not public but shared with the studio play test sessions that you probably want to mute that. Just have someone use that as B-roll or
play
something
some
maybe.
play some audio, yeah, some music over it or something.
A
um,
lot of footage that I've shot has required the audio to be silenced over the last year and a half.
um, so to go back to the Legions Con documentary, obviously it's a big chunk of it's probably the largest thing you've done with them, right? As far as
Mhm.
time wise and stuff. Um, and did you have kind of like I don't know, like a rough draft of how you wanted it to flow and what things you wanted to hit in certain parts because there's different themes throughout, right? Like you're very much telling this whole story and it's from, interviews that you did with several people and it's just these small little tidbits that you're pulling from those interviews. So, can you tell us a little bit about how that kind of story structure works and how that comes together?
Sure. I mean, this is the longest and by every stretch possible, the most complex and complicated film I've ever made in my life. Like when I actually got to the point of like sitting down to think about how I was going to edit it, I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. I said, "There's no way I can make anything cohesive or salient out of this." Like I was lining myself up to be an abject failure. I had no idea how I was going to bring form to this because it does pull from somewhere close to 30 interviews.
Mhm.
I don't know, an awful lot of B-roll, a stack of printed transcripts that's 3 or 4 inches thick. It was really intimidating. Um, I often describe filmmaking as building a puzzle, but you have to actually construct the pieces,
Mm.
and you don't have a cover of the box to follow along, right?
Gotcha.
So not only am I like actually making the pieces of the puzzle, I also don't know what the puzzle that I'm making is. And so, it's kind of a chicken or the egg type of thing where, you know, quite know how. I mean, I guess like, okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about GCon. I'm going to
Mhm.
talk a little bit about the armory. I want to, there's an introduction, there's a conclusion, and just very slowly, these things start to come into focus. I also describe filmmaking as like a sculptural process. Like if you're working with
That's what Joe was
clay,
saying here, sculpting with
nice.
moments.
Yeah, it's like, well, because first it's an additive process. Like if you're going to sculpt with clay, you plop down a bunch of clay on the table and
Mhm.
it's a big amorphous thing. And, first you got a big chisel and you're getting giant chunks off of it. And as form begins to reveal, now the smaller chisels come out, right? And every once in a while you need to grab a piece of clay that fell off and stick it back on to reshape this. And so, it there are a lot of parallels to those types of more like material art processes. But I mean, I was, yeah, it's safe. I was terrified at the prospect of making this. Like I felt really, and I say burden, like I say this, take this burden on with like a resolute pride or something. But I felt burdened to honor the story, the community, the company. Um, and yeah, it was a lot of lost sleep, a lot of not sleeping. And I mean, I think I told some of you guys like the weekend leading up, Jeremy was like, okay, we're gonna release it on Tuesday, and I was like, oh boy. Now we're in trouble because I was not near destination at that point. And I know the Friday, like over the Friday and Saturday before we released, I edited about 36 out of 48 hours. And
Oof.
then I woke up Monday morning at, I don't know, 5 o'clock and in the morning, and did not go to bed until Tuesday at like 5 o'clock.
Wow.
Um, and I mean, if I had another 12 hours or another week or another month, I would have put another 100 hours into it. So, yeah, there's a couple rough edges and things that I would like to still put polish on. But, that's part of the process too, is that sometimes you have to say, look, we're gonna say that this is done now. And I think, anybody who's painting or sculpting, um, certainly engages that same question of like, is this done? Or
Yeah.
or do we keep going? And like when and how do you um create that stopping point? Luckily, Jeremy helped me with that.
I
I
know
said Tuesday at whatever time it was, like, it's done. So
at Legion's Con, Nate Barch had said something to the effect of that artists never finish a project; they just decide when to let it go, right?
Mm,
Because if we had our choice, we would just keep working on it forever, right? Because
mhm,
it's especially in our own eyes, like it's never good enough.
mhm.
But I will say you must have a really good poker face, because when I talked to Jeremy, he's like, yeah, Brad was he's like he had it under control. He was confident. He was like, I was like, I don't know how he's going to get this done, but he was calm, cool, and collected. So, as nervous as you might have been, you did not portray that to Jeremy. He thought you were right on top of it. So,
Well, in that same time too, like I was telling you guys, I had I mean, a pretty debilitating back injury. I edited that whole thing where I was like barely able to walk upright. It actually worked out well that I had a laptop because I edited the entire thing sitting in my bed. Like I could not, like if I had to sit at a computer desk,
mhm.
it would not have been completed because I could not physically sit in a chair for more
Wow.
than 30 minutes or so, or else it was going to take 30 minutes to get out of the chair. So yeah, it was kind of like, yeah, it was kind of good to be crippled in that moment. Like, because even like a lot of times when I'll go into editing binges, I will take a pause by going for a bike ride. And
Mhm.
so I'll go out and I'll go for an hour and a half bike ride and kind of clear my head, reflect on what I've done, and then also kind of prepare what the next steps are. But I think even if I was doing that in this process of editing, I don't know that I would have finished it. So like I was just stuck in the chair all that time, and I didn't have anywhere to go or anything to do. So yeah, I just hung out with you guys on my computer screen for hours and hours. It was a lot of fun, though. It was a lot of fun.
Very cool.
I used to do video editing for a church for like the youth group. Curtis has seen my infamous Nerf war video. You
Ooh,
know,
I want to
and
see
it's
it.
nowhere near the caliber or standards that you have for the stuff you've put out. And I'm not trying to like dismiss my stuff. Like you know, so I can appreciate talking about like hours of editing, and you know, most of the stuff I did was like, you know, interview with kids on like a trip or something, or you know, like slideshows with music and stuff. It was a little more easier, but using equipment that wasn't maybe up to snuff as far as so like yeah, I and trying to do that, like I don't think I've ever had a laptop that could handle doing the kind of editing when I was doing that sort of stuff. So doing that with a back problem, I don't. Yeah,
That's rough.
That's crazy.
Has it gotten any better since then?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. And Greg jumping back in 2 weeks later, picking up the boxes. You know, it like I had gotten into a function. God, thank goodness I was not feeling that way when Legions Con was underway. I don't know how I could have functioned in that state. But honestly, like Legions Con, it helped kind of get my body moving again, like because I'm going out there, I'm trying. Cookie sometimes, like, he might get upset with me because I'm like getting in their lane, but when it comes time to get to work like that, I'm going out to the box truck, I'm picking up and moving stuff because we got to get that stuff done. And you know, as much as our crew is as talented and as hardworking as anybody in the business, all hands on deck in those moments. And you know, yeah, like, I mean, I like getting my hands dirty. I like doing a little like honest labor after, you know, the kind of delicate work of being behind the camera and stuff like that. But, you know, it's good just being around the like our in-house family in those moments. I mean, those are good bonding moments, and, you know, lets everybody know we're all kind of on the same page doing the same thing.
Well, speaking of the talented people at Four Horsemen Studios, Vernon here asked what it's like working with professional voice artists like Vernon Gibbs.
Well, you know, there are few greater honors that I have ever been bestowed with. You know, I saw Vern's name pick up there in the comments earlier. I'm gonna be totally broke by the end of this show because he was saying something about Ken Burns for toys, and I'm like, that's worth more than a $20 note. So, Vern, we'll square up tomorrow. Look, you know, I'm glad Vern did put himself in the mix there because you know, we have been able to work together quite a bit over this last year. What a stellar individual, talented in so many levels, joy to be around, and really fun to watch such a decent and kind person dip into the darkness of Necronominous.
I think I'd like to get your take on this as somebody who's kind of, you know, recently come into the fold of that team. Because as much as I think the stories are great within Legions, the sculpts are fantastic, the paint work is phenomenal. I think the best thing about it is the people in that studio. Like the you know, higher ups there at Four Horsemen have brought in people that are just awesome, great people. Like you go there for intern. I've said this numerous times on the show, but you know, it's a day before their biggest wave reveal of the year. It's 2 days before their biggest show of the year. And they invite people into their house, and nothing is off the table. Like, you can ask whatever question you want, and they're you know, they want to answer the questions. They want to help you, you know, understand what they do there. They're nice and kind, and nobody seems too stressed to talk to you. And it's just like one great person after another. It's just a nice collection of human beings that they've kind of cultivated there. So obviously in your lifetime, I'm sure you've been in different work environments and stuff. What's it like working with that group of folks?
I mean, wisdom and praise to the owners and founders of the company. I mean, CB, Jim, and Eric have worked tirelessly for more than a quarter century to at first, just keep this thing off the ground. And it was not always easy. And I mean, some of the successes that the company is blessed to be experiencing now, it was not like this. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there were some delicate and some precarious moments along the way. And I know that those three guys put in countless sleepless nights to keep the company afloat, and to arrive at a point of stability or security where they can now start to bring in and help support other people and other families. The choices that they've made in building out this staff, it's a reflection back to who they are, the type of characters that they bring, the type of work that they do, and the type of environment that they foster for us to work within. And I mean, top to bottom, it's a really careful set of choices. um and people who are in the house are thankful to be there. Um, Almost everybody is like also kind of like a fan,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like a lot of people are going to work at a place that they kind of dreamed about working
Mm-hmm.
at, and that makes things pretty cool. But when you got folks, and just here in the chat, I mean, you got folks like Joe, you got folks like Greg, Vern in the mix. I mean, these are the kind of people that you wanna sow the day with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's joyful, especially me kind of like being Nepo brother and kind of toy novice. You know, I didn't really know what to expect when I walked in the door, and where whereas some folks may have kind of taken that as like a challenge or just not really had like such a welcoming sense. Like, I mean, everybody was super, super patient with me. Joe, in particular, like really kind of just kept me afloat while I was figuring out the very first steps. I mean, super patient, super generous. And that it helped me be comfortable in that space, but it also helped me kind of know what to reflect back to people also. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome. And I would also say that one of the really cool parts of doing this as Legions Con was being able to dip back into some of the history. And I'll call out our friend Nazar, who shot this kind of impromptu documentary of the very first Legions Con in 2019, which was not really called Legions Con. It was
Mm-hmm.
all kind like the Northeast Mythic Meetup League 2000. Yeah. It had all these different kind of names, but he had the like the foresight to say, oh, let's pull out the camera and see what's going on in what sometimes is affectionately called the broom closet
Mm-hmm.
after a toy con New Jersey. And as I became privy to that footage, Closet Con too. Yeah, Vasapolo was in the mix there. As I looked around that footage and observed the room, um, it was revealing to see how many people who were in that room in 2019 are in the rooms now in 2025. And I mean, Jeremy, Joe, Vern, Cookie, Diego. Um, I think that's it. We're all in that room. and so for me, that was a different level, a new level of respect for some of my coworkers to see that folks had been in the fold, um, when it was still like a 3 or 4 person company. And now that we sit, oh yeah, Len, to thank you. Yeah, I mean, to see that expansion, to see the family grow, and also to stay kind of close to the vest, um, was pretty revealing. But it, I don't. Yeah, I have never. It's never been easier for me to go to work than it is to go to
That's
work
awesome.
for Four Horsemen. I mean, I think, and props to my dad for I don't know how or why, but like he instilled a pretty insane work ethic in Eric and I. Um, so to put in, hard work is something that I think either of us are kind of just wired to do. But man, has it been easier and more pleasant and pleasurable to put in like that extra work than it has been the entirety of my professional career. I don't mind burning midnight oil. I don't mind burning early AM oil. It's a yeah, joy and a pleasure. And I mean, like my coworkers, top to bottom, side by side. Yeah, they make it better and easier for sure.
That's awesome.
It's really
How
cool.
long did it take you to get used to resting Joe face, as we call it? To know that he's not angry. That's just how he looks.
I will just interject first. Like I was trying to recoup some of those $20 bills that were going out while I was tossing those compliments. So anybody who's listening now or afterwards, I'll share my handles afterwards. I mean, Joe, like I said, Joe really, he really helped open the door and gave me a place to feel comfortable and welcome. Um, just because we were intersecting a lot, and
Mhm.
I needed direct assistance from him. I still do every single day. I mean, the amount of times I go and bother Joe from the other 80 million things he's doing in the course of a day. He's still patient with me, but it's always with, a very special expression that is key to Joe. And it's good to have sometimes like a little bit of a steel facade because nobody's gonna mess with you, and they know when you're bringing like the kindness and generosity behind it, it's valid and meaningful when it comes with like a stone face like that. But you know Joe is an absolute joy and pleasure to like have shoulder to shoulder, day to day. I mean, he's somebody who brings a passion and joy for work that is really infectious. And as somebody who did come from the other side of the world and now is on the inside, I mean, he's helped me understand um how meaningful all of this is, not just as a place of work, but as a place of community and like a place of home. So yeah, yeah, props to Joe. I think, I mean, he might be now up to like a $50 kind of recompense for that. So
Well,
I'm sorry, like looking for let's see if he's still in the comments over there.
speaking of dollars, this is from a little earlier. I think it was in
Oh
reference
yeah.
to
Sorry.
your process on the. No, that's all right. On making the This Is Legion's Con video, but Hedgehog threw us a $4.99 super chat. Whatever the process was, the result was far beyond what any of us could have envisioned. So thank you, Hedgehog, and I'll triple that, third that, second,
Sure.
whatever.
As many
Yeah.
times. Yeah. All
Thank you,
right.
Jonathan. Good to have you around too.
We would not be able to let you go without giving us at least one you and Eric as kids story. So do you have something from your childhood? Something did you guys used to play with toys together? Any kind of fun story that you could share with us?
Oh, I mean, probably too many. I don't want to get in too much trouble. But I'll share a couple things. I mean, Eric and I we've always been close. Um, he's 4.5 years older than me. When I was little, like I was always pining to hang out with him and his crew. Um, whether we were playing with toys, building forts, running in the woods, building skateboard ramps or whatever, like he was always kind of in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And like coming back to work with him on a day-to-day basis has been like kind of a rekindling of that in the most like awesome and healthy way. I mean, he is the kind of person that you have probably come to know of him. Like it's as genuine and as consistent as any person I've ever met. How he remains um so calm and collected, you know, so humble and grounded in the face of like so much talent, and now like the reach that talent and the effect that it has on people, to remain so humble is a real mark and testament to his character. So yeah, I mean that it's pretty awesome to be able to like circle the wagons of the family, to be in daily contact with him, to be around my nephews, my sister-in-law, to be around their dogs. My dad is now around us a lot more, and so it really has been really special to just yeah to have that kind of daily like it kind of feels like we're little kids again. So I mean, I'll share that part with you, but also uh, a lot of people I think will appreciate this. So growing up, we would get in the car with mom and dad pretty much whenever they were going to go somewhere, especially if was like, Kmart or Toys R Us or something. We wanted to get in that
Mm-hmm.
toy aisle. And there was a grocery store next to the Kmart. So we were going to Food Lion, which if you grew up in a certain part of the world, you might know what Food Lion is, but Kmart was next door. So Eric and I went over to Kmart and we walked in, and there was He-Man and Masters of the Universe.
Mm.
And we walked into that Kmart and, completely sight unseen, completely unprepared. Um, we got our first taste of He-Man. And as was pretty much the case with any toy line coming up, like when the new stuff would come out, Eric would basically dictate who got what. He would get first choices and then I would get, and a lot of times it was like he would take chief bad guys and then I would, I'd kind of get lower bad guys and then good guys. But we went in there and it was like, all right, I'm getting Skeletor, you're getting Beast Man. And that was the kind of door opener to He-Man. And, I know that that's, a lot of folks have a lot of figures that are carry those names that were made
Mm.
by him and, some of his compatriots. So, I mean, I think that one's super special.
Well, especially since then they've got to, basically carry that 2000X line, and, to see, from being that kid walking in and being amazed by these toys to be the person that's actually making those toys had to be amazing.
Well,
It's one of those
and
things. Go ahead, Jesse.
I was gonna say, and now with Mondo doing like their take on
Yeah.
the Horseman's take, it's like a whole self-perpetuating thing.
Mm-hmm.
The circles, yeah, they close and then start over again when you've been in the mix this long. I mean, yeah, to see, when he hit that moment when they really, when they jumped out on their own and said, "All right, we're going to do this. We're going to propose to Mattel to bring back He-Man." I mean, what a huge risk. Um One that so many people are thankful for. But when that came to pass, that was one of those moments when I was like, Eric, man, he's pretty good at this stuff. He's making the things that we bought in Kmart when I was like
Right.
5 years old. Because I think they were ages 6 and up. And I remember also in Kmart, like Eric was kind of busting my chops because he's like, I don't think you're allowed to buy this because you're 5 and not 6, so like it amongst the camaraderie, always like a good like fraternal ribbing in that moment. But like when that stuff was coming out, it's like, oh wait, he's making these things that we were just dying to get when we were kids. I remember that at one point, they were signing this dates everything. Like they were brought into the Toys R Us in Times Square to sign figures, and there were like lines, you know, uh, out the door and around the corner. And I was like, I like my brother he's doing pretty good for himself.
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, those are some fun and I remember like even, my mom, rest in peace, like I think she was the first one to kind of to bust his chops saying, oh, we've got, an international toy superstar in the family here. With that's the kind of thing like Eric is like not comfortable with that. But I'll still bust that out on him whenever it's a
All
low
right.
enough hanging fruit for me.
So anybody now that sees Eric at a show, international toy superstar.
Oh god, he may. Oh, I may get punished for this one.
Well, I'll bring that back down from my personal experience with Eric. Being on the East Coast, sorry to rub it in, Curtis, I get to go to more shows, so I get to see him and talk to him and stuff. So at Legion's Con, I always feel like, because I know last year I chewed his ear off. He like walked into the showroom and my table was right in the door, and there's part of me that's like, oh, he's just being nice, but like he genuinely likes engaging with everybody. And yeah, he wanted to see the rest of the room, but like he was talking. So like this year, I said hi to him, once or twice, and it was just kind of like shaking hand and like trying to keep moving because I was like, I'm gonna take all of his time up if I stop moving. But I could see like he was just kind of like, why are you walking away? Like just talk for a minute, So just like the fact that the international toy superstar, but he's also like he's just not just, but he's a guy.
Yeah.
He's
that likes toys. Yeah.
I saw this I've said this on a couple shows, where the PowerCon 22, he was sitting down with me and I was sitting and he was there with Motu Joe and a couple other people, and then some cosplayers came over and they started talking to him and they just kept talking and talking. I was like, do I need to like, and I was still pretty new at that point. I was like, do I need to like get him out of this? And he was loving it. Like he was just in it. They were talking about some cons that they used to go to, Dragon Con or something. So he was like shared memory. And I was like, no, he's just cool. Like he's just enjoys being with people. So yeah, that superstar mentality definitely does not come across.
Yeah, I mean,
at all.
I hope nobody's watching this, man. So no, I do hope everybody's watching it. But oh man, I might be in trouble with that statement there.
It was funny though, because like I had a moment at Legion's Con and it was the last day. We're getting ready. It's Monday. We're getting ready to leave, and like I'm packing stuff up in the car, and Darla comes like running out. She's like, you need to come inside. I'm like, I'm packing the car. She's like, but Eric wants to talk to you. I was like, just dropped everything, and just ran. Like, and like he was thanking me for like stuff that I do in the community and stuff. And I that's not unique because I know he had that conversation with several people, but it's like I'm not doing anything. You're the one doing the cool stuff. I'm just having fun and enjoying this. But it's that mentality. Like he never sees himself as that, international toy superstar. Like he is just a humble guy that, he likes the toys. He loves this community and he's appreciative of everything that has come about with this. And that's just really cool.
Well, I mean, look, it's facts that none of this really exists without folks like you and so many people that are, our peers in the community that make this as special as what it is. And anybody who wants to say that this is not a community, not a family, like take another look. because I think you'll reconsider, if you look at the world that surrounds these toys with an open mind, because this is a family and a community that I'm mighty proud to be a part of here. And I thank you both and everybody else for receiving me with such open arms, and every little bit that I can add to the conversation here, I'm going to do as respectfully and as dutifully as I can. and um, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to those next steps.
Well, we got one more thing to get to, but before that, Jesse, did you say you had a giveaway you were supposed to do?
I do, but I don't remember the gentleman's name that gave it to me. Like I can picture his face.
Do we want to wait?
I want to wait till I can, because
okay.
the picture I took of him with it, so I would remember who it was. Like, because it was like his YouTube or his Instagram. I must have been like having a seizure, because it's the shakiest photo I think I have ever taken with my phone.
Well, shoot it to me, and I'll see if I can help you. But yeah, we'll do that next week then.
So apologies to them and for not having the giveaway in it, but we'll get it figured out.
We did have a $2 super chat from Dub3. Did not say anything there, but then he came back with, "Don't forget the Jesse story." Oh, I would not. Dub.
I could.
So, Brad, this is how we've been closing out the show this year. So we just talked about how you have told stories with your video and stuff. We're going to actually ask you to tell a story with your words. Because at one point in Jesse's life, I feel like you've gotten to know Jesse a little bit. Pretty nice guy, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. So at one point in Jesse's life, he had gone to a movie with some friends, and the movie was Fun with Dick and Jane, Jim Carrey movie. Here's what we know. He went to the movies. It's before even the previews start. Like, they've got the ads rolling on the screen and stuff. And it's just him and his friends in there. And then a few rows up from him, there's a guy and a gal and what appears to be the gal's parents, right? So they're watching the ads on the screen and everything. And all of a sudden, this kind of romantic music comes on, kind of a little sappy thing on screen. And it says across the screen, "Will you marry me?" And the guy, a few rows up from Jesse, gets down on his knee and he's proposing to this gal. At which time Jesse starts booing relentlessly at these folks, at this couple. Now, we don't know why Jesse was booing. We don't know what impact it had on this poor couple. He's going to tell us, he says, at the end of the year, which is our December 28th show, I believe. But in the meantime, we've been having people come on the show and tell their version of what they think happened in that situation. So this is your moment. I'm going to go ahead and begin you here. Will you tell us what you think happened? What motivated Jesse to boo this couple? And what impact did you think it had on them?
Oh, boy. Now I'm at the hot seat all of a sudden. I was getting comfortable, and now I'm on the edge of my seat.
For the record, nothing you're going to say is going to hurt my feelings. I'm just playing this up for the show.
I mean, is the boo hiss, does that translate in any other languages as like celebratory, congratulatory? Because like I remember,
it's your story. You can tell it however you want.
It translates in ghost as positive.
I do I remember I took a cultural anthropology class in college, and I remember somewhere in South America, doing this gesture, kind of like an okay thing, was like a deeply offensive, aggressive kind of statement that could be, misinterpreted under a different.
We actually have a big
backdrop.
Viewing group from that area, and you actually just offended our entire audience right now.
I apologies worldwide. So I'm gonna say that Jesse is in possession of, maybe some long lost or forgotten language skills, and in fact was, a less expected form of support and congratulations.
Gotcha. So he was trying to support this proposal.
And I will add a counter to that the guy who taught me film years ago, he's pretty famous filmmaker. the greatest accolade he's ever received. It was in the Berlin Film Festival a few years ago, and he makes some super weird films, which are, they can be challenging to watch. But the film was over, and somebody stood up and went, "Boo! Rubbish!" And so that was that has become the greatest sort of compliment or respect that he's ever received. And so I'm going to say that "boo rubbish" is actually, it is a compliment, and maybe it's one of these long lost tongues or dialects of years gone by.
Awesome. Well, as far as the couple, did they see it that way, or how did they take it? Is it one of those things that it broke them up and they couldn't go through with it because of the booing? Is it something that strengthened them and they now have this story that they tell every year at their anniversary? Or, what do you think happened with them?
It depends on whether Vin Diesel and Nicole wasn't it? No. Yeah, was Nicole? Yeah, the like the women who comes out like at the movie. Like when you go to the movies down, like, oh yeah, isn't that Nicole Kidman who?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think
the
Vin
AMC,
Diesel
yeah.
did one. Yeah, so it depends on if those two came out and contextualized it all. Because if Vin Diesel came out, it was like happily ever after. If Nicole Kidman came in, I think it was less well received. So it kind of depends on that entry point to the movies, depending on which company you were in.
All right. Well, folks, is that the correct story? We will find out at the end of the year on our last show in December. So tune in to hear Jesse tell his version of how this story went down. I am still on the lookout for this couple. We know that it was in Missouri. I am in Missouri. I have put ads out in many newspapers. I'm assuming that because they were proposing at Fun with Dick and Jane that they live in a trailer park. So I'm searching all the trailer park, putting up signs. Hopefully I can get that couple to show up at our show.
For the record, that is all Curtis's imagination. I never made any qualifications on their home or financial status.
Out of all the places that you propose to somebody, if you propose before the previews of Fun with Dick and Jane, you definitely live in a trailer park. I'm just deducing that from my Sherlock Holmesiness. So yeah.
At least you avoid a follow-up conversation to the proposal. Like, if it didn't go well, at least then you can sit in the dark and silence for a couple hours and not have to confront that,
Yeah.
I hope you find them just so they can be like, we totally forgot that happened. It's this nothing. They were so happy that was a nothing moment that they forgot, because my friends that went to the movie with me, one of them hasn't replied to me, which is fine. We haven't been in regular communication. The other one, also not regular communication, told the story. He was like, I don't remember that at all. I was like, oh, great.
Is it possible that the one friend stopped talking to you because you decided to boo proposals at movie theaters?
No. Because we continued to be, it's just because I moved away and, that sort of thing. So,
all right.
Well, if you ever need somebody to boo a proposal with, call me up. I got your back.
You'll say boo, Jesse, and then Brad will say rubbish.
It's not a regular occurrence. But I do like your take on it, because it's kind of like when someone goes abroad and then they come back and they're like, oh, well, in this country, this is how they say it over there, for a month after they come back, and they're insufferable to all their friends.
They don't like being called broads anymore, by the way.
A broad is a one word.
A-B-R-O-A-D. Not a space. Okay, gotcha.
Correct.
But we can bring rubbish back, though.
Rubbish is a great word
that needs to come back into the vernacular, right?
Yeah, I agree. If there's two things that you'd folks take out of this interview, one should be rubbish, the other one should be international toy superstar.
No.
Those are the two things to take from this. So, well, Brad, we appreciate you being on. This has been a ton of fun. Hoping to see you in Muskecon. Maybe some other shows. I know I'll be going to CarverCon, going to the West Coast meetup. I think you had a schedule there, didn't you, Jesse, of all the shows?
Yes, I do. They posted this was
just
yesterday.
right?
Yeah. So you can go to sourcehorseman.com/events. This is all stuff they currently have listed out for the year. There's always some other things that usually get thrown in there. But that's what they have at the moment. And that's a lot of big shows.
I don't know what Monster Palooza is. Is that a new one for them?
That one I'm not so sure about.
Yeah, I don't know that I've heard that one before. The rest of them seem familiar. And Motu Fest is we kind of heard about that because that's going to be the quasi PowerCon for this year before PowerCon comes back officially next year, supposedly. But yeah, I don't know that I've heard of Monster Palooza. That one's new.
If it's the one that I just Googled, it's in California. So West Coast folks. If that, I don't know. I just Googled Monster Palooza. And
awesome.
It's Pasadena. So Alan, you can maybe confirm that. But yeah.
Okay. Oh well.
Rob says he's going with LeBron. So
and they're both in California, so that would make sense then. Very cool. Darla said, read Greg's comment. After Eric hears this, it was fun working with you, Brad.
Well, if I get replaced, luckily Greg is an official family member. So whatever loss there may be in my absence, he's going to be there to fill that void immediately. It'll be like I was never there in the first place.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a couch for you to stay on. So you're good.
Would you call it a smorgasbord?
No, you would not.
I do like that word too, though.
Anything else you want to promote before we put you backstage?
No, I think, for me, I would just say thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor and a pleasure. It's been super cool getting to know you guys over this last year and a half or so. And I can't wait till the next year and a half and the year and a half after that. I hope we're all in this for a very long time to come. And, the families that are here out in the chat and stuff, thanks for being here. And I look forward to seeing all of you again very soon.
Awesome. Well, we're going to put you backstage. I know we've kept you up way past your bedtime. So if you've got to run, we totally understand. If not, hang out and we'll be with you right as soon as we close out the show. So
yeah, I'll hang out for a few more minutes. Thanks.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Brad.
I think I might have cut him off.
Curtis couldn't wait to get him off the show.
No, I know he said that this is later than he normally stays up. And normally we stop around 2 hours and we're already well past that. But I could sit there and talk to him all night and I don't want to keep him up any longer.
Likewise. I want to say one more thing because I know William said earlier in the show, he said, he's kind of alone in this passion except for hanging out with all of us. So he's missing us. There we go. Without all you people, we got to meet William at MesquiCon, and then it was really cool to see him at Legion's Con and just wandering around. He just had like the biggest grin and just was taking everything in. And I just want to encourage William and everybody else that's watching this. If you haven't, and I'm not saying he hasn't, I'm not putting words in his mouth, but I'm saying we're all here. We're all here because we like these toys. We like, my lights went off. Like hanging out with each other. And, if you're not feeling that family vibe, don't try harder, but just like reach out. Like, maybe someone doesn't notice that you're on your own, or if you're feeling alone, reach out to someone else who also feels alone. We got to look out for each other, and, not that we want to make cliques or anything like that. Just sometimes that's just how friend circles work, the bigger things get, but, reach out, talk, join in these chats. The Cabal, was it Legion's chat on Friday night?
Yep, Legion's chat Friday night. Yep.
We do I wasn't there today, but the customizing studio on Sunday afternoons and all the different shows that hang out. Do your own thing. If none of those work for you, try doing your own thing.
You got the Mythic role playing game getting ready to start. So if you put together a group and you can play some role playing game with them. And I know Patrick's got that D20 Facebook group now. So if you're if that's something that you either have done in the past, you've played D&D or some other role-playing game, or if you've never done it but you're interested in it, that'd be a great place to kind of hook up with some people and put a little group of 5 or 6 people together and just kind of have some adventures. So
yeah, and a lot of us in this community are socially awkward, and somehow we find each other, and it brings out other parts of ourselves. So you'll find your group, hang out, get to reach out to whatever. Yeah, we're all here because we love this stuff and talking to each other. So
anything else that you want to promote for this week? I know you've got some new stuff that you've had going on.
Monday musings tomorrow for channel members here on just Shelve It. On my Instagram, I've been doing whatever this is, just little like minute long get to know you things. I'll be bringing back the Lauren more to finish out All-Star 6 and then to get into the stuff I had created for Legions Con. So yeah, that's where I'm at with stuff this week. And we do have a show next week with a bunch of people that Curtis knows their names and I'm blanking on right now. But they're all really cool people.
It's the people that were running the New to Mythics table at Legions Con. So it's Schmerber, Brendan, Jeff Evans, and Benny. If there may be more people than that, I know they were sharing with a bunch of people and sharing that table. So we'll see how many of them we can get on screen. We want to talk to them about their experience as basically new vendors and see what that was like for them. So yeah.
What secret chat? Hedgehog, am I in a chat that's secret?
I don't know. For me, I should, now I've got my last travel trip out of the way for work, and obviously we're past Legions Con, so hoping to get back to some exploded figure reviews this week. Obviously got the exclusive figures and the table drops from Legions Con. Also still have plenty of Cosmic to get through, so want to start knocking those out. And I am currently working on the Art by Akerman Customizing Brushes version 2. So I'm testing out some different brushes now to add to it. It'll probably be, instead of 10 brushes on the next set, it might be like 12 to 14 brushes, just to kind of add a few different things that, I feel like could enhance the current set. But I am sold out of the original set. They will be available on Wolf King Customs in about a month. And if you're in the Athens, Georgia area, I know Ginger Kid Collectibles has them. And if you're down in Texas, near Dallas, I know Kevin Hamilton is opening up his store next Friday, or this Friday, on Black Friday. His new store, Kev Box, is opening up, and he's going to have, a bunch of different toy lines there, as well as kind of a night for people to come in and do customizing. Should be a really great store. Kevin's an awesome guy. So if you're in that Texas area, definitely go and support him.
Did you give IM a bunch of your brushes to sell? Is that why he sold out?
I'm sorry, what now?
You said IM sold out of your brushes.
I am, not I am. I am, not I am. Yeah. Oh, no, now my watch is confused.
All right. I think that's the perfect place to end the show, folks. Thanks for joining us tonight. Brad, thanks for hanging out with us and getting to know you better. And until next time.
What's on your shelf?
No!